Mark Polhill, lesson April 3rd, 2015. With Mark's swing, we're trying to change a few things. We tested a flat angle club out, and that helped me learn that Mark's hands in the backswing and the way he works the club back in the first half of the backswing is the major component that we need to change in order for Mark to successfully make some other changes to his swing. So here's the swing before we change anything today. So before we started, Mark was working on getting a little more squatted through his lower half, which I like, which helps him get his arms hanging more straight down and it gets a better angle between his forearms and the shaft. So happy for that to continue. One of the reasons why we try, I still do think your clubs are a little bit upright, but they're not the number one reason. Definitely not the number one reason for your swing mechanics being the way they are. The club halfway back is where all the issues are. So we can see here right now, the club working back, the left arm is extending, the hands, the right hand between the forefinger knuckle and the right wrist, the radial head is really backed up on itself. And we can see halfway back we've got a really shut club face and a shaft angle that's way too high. We want that shaft angle to be more through the right bicep at this point of the swing. And then correspondingly, there's other movements that match up. The top of the backswing is actually better for Mark than what it's ever been before. Coming back down to impact, we can still see the head, Mark's head here backing up away from the ball. That's to make room for the club slinging out so much. The club gets so far down behind that it's going to sling out more towards the ball coming into impact. And we can see this motion with his head and body backing up out of it. So we've worked some of that in the past and it's got better, but there's still too much of that going on. So the number one thing that's causing it, I believe, is a malfunction of which direction the energy is being used with both the left and the right hand halfway back in the backswing. It's very apparent that the right hand, the fingers, the forefinger and the thumb here and the right hand are really trying to rip the head of that club back in behind over here, which backs up that energy in the right hand. So we gave Mark a couple of drills to combat that. The first drill was a feeling of the right hand and the handle of the club really working back straight and away from the ball. Mark feels as though this club's going to go back in a dead straight line away from the ball, and this is definitely better. Angles here are all better, but still not quite enough, and we can still see that breaking in the back of the left wrist here as it works away. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to put a second video on here for you on YouTube, Mark, with what I want to see as far as the movements go, to give you a visual and direction to work towards. So the feeling we had here was the 3/4 to half shut. Feeling like that, the right wrist is really working back away, and the loft and the loft has been maintained in the right hand. It's going back away, out wide, and staying straight. And coming into impact, it feels like Mark's trying to hit the ball with his palm open, so it's kind of a push motion with the right hand. The second thing we worked on is for this feel was the left hand, what the left hand's doing. So Mark tends to have his left arm, actually I'll just go back 1 second. If we look at this drill, Mark's left elbow with this drill was apparently much more facing towards the ground on the way down here. And that motion with the energy in his left arm also pulls him down. When that left elbow goes down towards the ground rather than lifting and rotating, we want that left elbow to lift, left arm and left elbow to lift and rotate. And we also want to try and get a motion where the left arm is pushing out towards the ball coming into impact here. This is Mark feeling like his left elbow is rotated. Now the head of the club is in a worse position because we haven't addressed the hands, and the right hand's gone back to what it was doing before. But we look at the left arm motion here, we look what happens coming in. There's much less backing up out of the shot. There's much less making room. You can see the symmetry of the shaft of the club works back into impact much more squarely. It doesn't duck under as much. But if we look at back over here, coming into impact, that club's really trying to duck under through impact here. It's really trying to get under and low, which is not what we want. We want to have a pretty direct line back down towards the ball so we can make consistent contact. We don't want to lose so much angle under and be so far underplaying. So those are the two focus points. Yet again, I'm going to create another video here to send to Mark to give him a pretty good understanding of these changes and how to move forwards.